Zero.
So hi guys, I'm here and I'm supposed to say welcome to my YouTube channel, and apparently I did not do that because you're already here. I am an African. We all are, probably, even those who are watching this. Some of them may not be. I'll assume most of you are. In politics, there's usually a demand that you must have an enemy. Like we do it all the time. Right-wing politics will get an enemy. Left-wing politics will always get an enemy. The same with African politics. Our politicians have the tendency of reminding us that it's the West. And therefore they've coined out this theology of Pan-Africanism. And I am a Pan-Africanist. It's a good thing. But then, this concept of Pan-Africanism, don't you think it's actually far-fetched? The idea that every single problem that is actually on us is apparently the West. I refuse. I refuse to believe that it's actually the West that is actually the author of most of the problems that we do have. Because if it is colonization, I think it's been 50 years. The last country to actually seek independence was majorly South Africa, which was in 1994. So why do we still have this idea of constantly blaming the West? And I'm not a Western apologist, I'm just stating the truth as it is. Our politicians are taking us for granted, and most of the time, that theory, we tend to buy it. And it was very prominent when Russia invaded Ukraine. All of a sudden, we made Ukraine appear like the antagonist in a war that obviously, even if Russia had a reason to invade Ukraine, they still stands that it was the aggressor. But this anti-West rhetoric is usually so, I don't know, call it permanent within our discourse to an extent where that is not African culture. That is not African culture. Then what is African culture? Why do we hate on a culture, yet we speak their language? Yes, English is actually one of the most spoken languages in Africa. We use the curricular system. We use their technologies, which is actually the phone. I am right now using our Western system. I am vlogging our Western concept, an idea. If I am sick, I'll most likely look for a Western doctor, in that it doesn't necessarily come from the West, but those ideas that they're most likely to use, they are the West. Let's look at Mugabe, one of the biggest Pan-Africanists we ever know. The guy was an avowed Pan-Africanist at home. Do you know the reason why his wife was called Gucci Grace? Because he shopped in Italy. The sons, they partied in South Africa and France. And you're supposed to hate the West. They had apartments in Venice. You are supposed to hate the West. Your presidents and politicians are stashing their wealth in the West. And you're supposed to hate the West because the West is actually the author of our problems. It's the West that actually encourages our politicians to plunder our resources. It's the West that's actually eroding our culture. Really, if someone is eroding your culture, probably they should have a gun to your head to actually count as if they're really eroding your culture. But if you're doing it willingly, is that really eroding? We claim to be anti-West, and yet we are stuck up on their religion more than they actually are at this moment. We make money off it. And you're telling me that you have to hate the West. Why? How about we take things that are actually practical, that works for them, because they have better economies? Our musicians here want to be like them. They want to rap like Meek Mill. Our girls at home here want to walk like Nicki Minaj. We want to eat KFC because it's actually the gold standard of what is cool. We want to battle rap. Who in Africa used to battle rap in 1900? No one. Battle rap is the Tupac concept, the Tupac and Eazy and Ice Cube and all those guys there. They're in the West. I am not talking about racism here. Because the fact that black people are in the West, they're in the West, and therefore, actually, most of the time, you guys are so much hating on Ukraine. You want to immigrate here, you go to the West. I have never in my life, and I am almost 30, met anyone who actually went to Russia and stuck there. You go there, you come back. You go to US, you stick there. And yet you're telling us anti-West. Here, everything is only cool when I talk like Chris Brown, when I can dance like Chris Brown, when I can dress like, I don't know, give me someone who is in the West. I am telling you this, fuck off. For God's sake, I am not supposed to say that, but I will. It is not the West, it is us. We are not the only country that was colonized. Yes, China was colonized by the British. And look right now, Britain cannot tell it shit. China can do anything and they cannot be sanctioned. How do you sanction someone else who actually has almost military capacity as you? And it's not because of democracy. China is not a democratic country. So you can't really tell me it's democracy. It is not. It is mentality. And with us, the mentality that is easier to choose of is the victim mentality. So what? We'll be losing every day. You want to negotiate with the West with the victim mentality? The last time I went in a negotiation with a victim mentality, I lost. And that's why you'd continue losing, because you're a victim of the West, apparently. Yet you're victims of yourselves. So while you're most likely going to bash me for what I just said, oh, fuck you too. Yeah, I am talking like a Western guy, okay, pretty much influenced. But why is it a bad thing if it can put my food in my table? What does African culture do for me right now? I'm not bashing on African culture, for the record. I'm just saying that shouldn't hypocrisy be shameful? Then why do we embrace it? And then we allow people who should take care of, like politicians, actually embrace it too. So, as I go, this is not the last you've heard from me. This is not the last you've heard from me. But that victim mentality gotta stop, or else we'll be victims forever. And I'm out.